Wasabi guys, coming back at you with another Commander 2017 video, and this time we are going to be going over the top 10 best cards from Commander 2017, my favorites, cards that I feel incredibly powerful and they're going to have an impact on this format, unlike most of the other cards from this set. These haven't been released yet. This is pretty biased, so it is just my opinion here. I will make another video following this up soon once we have these decks and we get to play with them, we get to see these cards, and then I will make a list in retrospect based off of how they play officially. This is more or less just my picks for 10 cards that are going to be extremely playable, just valuable in this format. Let's get started here with number 10, which is Ramos Dragon Engine. Now, at first glance, automatically compared this to Crystalline Crawler, which is a very similar card from Commander 2016. It all works around just removing counters in order to add mana to your mana pool. This is a little bit slower because you do need to remove 5 counters, whereas with Crystalline Crawler it entered with those counters. So while it is a great way to ramp up, and he's most likely going to be seeing the majority of his play in the Dragon deck, I think he's good enough to see play as one of the 99 consistently in 5-color Dragon decks. However, I have him only at number 10 because I feel like his potential as a commander just isn't there, at least for me it isn't. And also the whole thing where you can only use that ability to add to your mana pool only once a turn. I mean, that's kind of a downside. Pretty big reason why he's not going to be a huge combo commander. Number 9, I have Shifting Shadow. Really just a brilliant red card here, and it embodies what we like the most out of red in Commander, and it is that red is just random, it's all over the place, and sometimes you get a huge advantage of that. A lot of your opponents aren't going to expect what you're going to do, and this is a card that can kind of come out of nowhere, and suddenly you have Combustible Gear Hulks, and you have Inferno Titans, and you have all these crazy red creatures with awesome ETBs. Or you throw this into something like Cedrus, and you have all these creatures that are getting sacrificed into your graveyard, and you get more from your deck, and it works really well with ETBs. So you have all this to abuse, and I absolutely love this card, and I think it's going to see a ton of play. If not, I would not be surprised if people undervalue it. But it's really good. It's 3 mana, it sits on the field, and over the course of a game, if it's left alone, you're going to be getting a ton of value off of it. Number 8 is Bloodline Necromancer. Pretty cool, basically a karmic guide for vampires and wizards. It's 5 mana, it automatically fits into both tribes, which is awesome. That's why I have it here on this list, because it synergizes with not just one of the decks, but both. It's also very cool because it synergizes with Inala Archmage Ritualist's Eminence ability, where you can pay 1 and get a copy of it. So you can get 2 copies off of Bloodline Necromancer. It's another option for that deck as well as just being a good value vampire. Recursion is always good, and having that on a 5-mana creature that enters the battlefield to get any vampire wizard from your graveyard back to the battlefield, incredible. And it's pretty much going to be an auto include for me going down the road choosing any of these 2 tribes. Then next, for number 7, I have Balan Wandering Knight. Now, at first glance, automatically just an amazing mono white Voltron commander here that we have. The potential is outrageous, and having that activated ability just to pay 2 to attach all equipment you control to Balan is incredible. One of the worst things about playing Voltron is having to reattach all your equipment. That's a pain in the ass, and to just bypass all that by just paying the 2 mana, suddenly all your equipment's already attached to her. Holy crap, that's crazy good. And on top of this too, if you have 2 or more equipment, she gets double strike. She already has first strike, so you're just getting value right there. Double strike's never a bad thing. Just perfect for equipment. A good alternative to, say, Kemba Regent, another option for mono white Voltron. But I just think that she could be a little bit better, because you're not going to worry about Cat Tribal as much as you're going to worry about just mono white Voltron, and having that activated ability to attach all your equipment to her is insane. Number 6 is Vindictive Lich. Super political when you can choose and look at certain opponents and say, okay, I don't think you should have this. I think you should lose some life. I think you should discard some cards. Absolutely brilliant. This type of card design and the potential for it to fit into certain decks. popular decks in the format, such as Marin of Clan Neltoth, all the graveyard-based decks, and even in these upcoming decks here for Wizards. And there's a lot of recursion in the format. There's a lot of ways that you can abuse this type of ability, but having it die over and over again and being able to point at certain players and dictate which ones lose what, that's incredible. And the things they're losing, it's pretty decent. I mean, losing 5 life, sacrificing a creature, discarding 2 cards, those are just brilliant abilities, and I absolutely love this dude. Really cool. Also synergizes with zombies, so you can throw it into a zombie tribal deck as well. Really cool. Love the design. Number 5, I have Mathis Fiendseeker. This dude is just a well-designed card. Probably one of the more underrated commander options coming into the set here, and is one of the big reasons why I love him, because not many people realize what he really represents, and that is a potential to have a super political, almost a group hug style of play, where your goal is to mainly just single out one player. By putting a bounty counter on any creature they control, you are basically bargaining with other players at the table. Hey, let's destroy this. If we do, we get this in return. So you can play the whole group hug thing, which I think in Mardu colors it's underrated to begin with. I mean, you have a ton of options in white and red for group hug, and in these colors it's going to be fun to explore that route. Very similar to, say, Queen Marchesa. When you try to do the whole pillow fort strategy, you can kind of adapt some of that into Mathis Fiendseeker's build. But I absolutely love the potential here for a super political build, just a Mardu control deck. Usually when we see Mardu, we think of these super aggressive builds. We think of Kalia, we think of Zergo Helm Smasher. We don't really think of, just good control. And that's what this deck could possibly represent with Mathis Fiendseeker as the commander. Absolutely love him. At number 4, I have the Dragon. Super expensive, but what he represents is a true 5-color dragon commander that just embodies what you want out of this tribe, and that's just massive dragons that you can cheat into play, that you can cast them for cheaper than what you normally would. That is probably the best thing about him too, and the most underrated thing as well. The fact that all your dragons inherently will cost 1 less to cast is crazy cool because of this, just having him as your commander. So over the course of a game, you may not realize this, but that's a ton of mana that you don't have to waste. That's a ton of mana you can save up and use on other things. And you can cheat out certain dragons. You can play certain dragons sooner than you normally would because of that. May not seem like a lot of mana, but 1 is a lot of mana. And the second ability, when he's out there, just having your dragons attack, drawing that many cards for each attacking dragon, and then putting a permanent from your hand into play, that's even better. I mean, cheating a dragon into play is cool, and there's a ton of awesome dragons to choose from among 5 colors. So, I mean, you're going to have a ton of fun playing this type of deck, throwing in all those cool dragons from the Khans-Tarkir block. There's awesome options. Really cool commander. Definitely loved him when he was spoiled a few months ago. Number 3, I have Marcel the Pretender. I love when you look at a legendary creature and it's completely different from what you expected out of the set, and Marcel definitely represents that. I think as well as Mathis Fiendseeker, the previous selection, which I had on this list here. Marcel is just brilliant. You can choose any artifact or creature from your hand or in your graveyard. You get to exile it and put a cage counter on it. She has all those activated abilities of cards exiled with her with cage counters. I freaking love that. There's so many cool things that you can do, and it's not just Wizard Tribal, which is what I love the most about her, is that she goes against the whole, we have to be a tribe here. You get to explore this deck idea with her, and I absolutely love just thinking about all the cool decks that you can make. She's definitely one of those commanders where you're not just going to be playing out of the pre-con. You're going to be trying to optimize a deck with her, and you're going to be getting a whole bunch of other cards. And I love commanders that sort of spark your interest in something completely different than what was originally introduced with the pre-con. So I think if I had to compare her to another commander from a previous commander deck, it would probably be Nekasar the Mindraiser. And just that impact of, she's one of the legendary options, but she's not the main one. Obviously, Inala is the main one for the wizard deck, but I kind of compare her to Nekasar and that whole factor that, she's not the face commander, but I do feel like she could be just as popular as Anala, if not even more so, just because of that ability to manipulate activated abilities, and I think that's definitely cool, and one of the reasons why she's one of my favorites on here. Then number 2, I have Edgar Markov. Papa Markov. Absolutely love the flavor here. The artwork's brilliant. He's 6 mana, Mardu colors. Great options with these colors. You have good control. You have some cool vampires too to choose from. And the Eminence ability, while it's not the strongest of this set, it's definitely something that getting 1/1 vampires, it's going to help you out long term, and it's going to make it easier for you to swing in with lethal, which is what you're ideally going to be doing with this deck. And once you get him out there, which is probably the best thing about him, once you get him out there, he has first strike and haste. He's a 4/4, but once he swings, he gets a +1/+1 counter on each vampire you control, which is a huge incentive for using his Eminence there, getting a ton of vampire tokens. So your whole team is going to be huge. They're going to have +1/+1 counters on them. It's going to be cool. He's going to be bigger the first time he swings. He's going to be a 5/5 with first strike. So each time you swing with him, he's going to get bigger and bigger and out of control. Just a pain in the ass to block. And really cool combat strategies that I'm going to be thinking about when I make this deck. I'm probably going to try to play it online for you guys. Absolutely love him. He's brilliant. Mardu vampires, I was just asking my friends, talking to everybody I knew. They were like, I absolutely would love it if we got a Mardu vampire tribal deck. That would be excellent. And I absolutely 100% agree. This guy is freaking cool. Then number 1, I have Inala Archmage Ritualist. Easily the best Eminence ability out of the 4 commanders. Being able to pay 1 mana and have a copy of another wizard is incredible. You know, think of the Snapcaster Mage, think of the Bloodline Necromancers, think of the Venser Shaper Savants. Just having additional copies of these enter the battlefield, so you get to abuse the ETBs. There's a ton of valuable wizards with awesome ETBs within Grixis colors. So this ability right here is probably the easiest to abuse, and it's no doubt in my mind the best Eminence ability because of that. And in addition, her other ability when she's on the field, tapping 5 wizards to have a target player lose 7 life, that has combo written all over it. Think of Paradox Engine. Think of wizard combo decks we already have with Azami. There's a lot of ways that you can abuse this. I mean, tapping and untapping, it's not that hard to combo out with that. I mean, just for the cost of tapping 5 untapped wizards, 7 life may not seem like that big of a deal, but when you're talking about finishing games and when it comes down to grinding out games, I mean, 7 life is a lot of life to lose. Out of all of the commander options, I feel like she is the best, at least right now from what I can see. Not to say that any of these other commander options don't have potential. I just feel that as of right now, looking at all the options that we have, that Eminence ability for me is just way too good compared to the other ones, and that's the main reason why I have her as number 1. I feel she's super powerful. So anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this top 10 list of the best cards from Commander 2017. Let me know what you think about this in the comments section. Let me know what your 10 favorite are. I'm interested in to hear your guys' feedback, your suggestions, or anything like that. I will be following this up sooner or later with another top 10. It's going to be more like a in retrospect top 10, so be sure to stay tuned and keep an eye out for that video. Couple weeks we should get that. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Void here signing off. Have a wonderful day.